Hold on a second. All right, so hi everyone. My name is Celeste Denby. I am a counselor, academic counselor with the Research Aligned Mentorship Program at Farmingdale State College. And today I'm going to be presenting on when counselors meet robots, building student-centered OER with AI. So the opening question is, what happens when a time-strapped counselor with a big vision teams up with a robot that never sleeps? This is how I got started with using AI to help me keep up with my students' needs. So I work with primarily first year and uh, sophomore students, and it turns out that the partnership opened up new pathways for me to create shareable open tools for student success. Now, during the summer months, I am very busy with onboarding new students and getting them registered for classes for the fall. But I also am in charge of advising students and training our peer leaders who act as orientation leaders for our summer program. So, with all of that juggling, sometimes it gets really, really hard to do all of those things. And that's where I found using an AI chatbot to help me create these tools and resources really slowed down, really sped up the ideation process and the brainstorming process and left me more open to connect with my students in a more human way. So, what counts as OER? So, those of us in advising and student services are constantly making educational resources, but they're usually locked away in, shared folders, in inbox attachments, or in event folders. So, anything that helps our students, but no one else benefits from them, is going to be kind of a waste. So this is where creating these things and opening them up, OER really, really changes the game for a lot of us, where we're not reinventing the wheel all the time if we're all sharing all of these resources that can be adapted to different campuses. So things that I've already created are things like peer mentorship training guides, advising prep blogs, academic recovery programs, workshop materials, and communication templates. So what counts as OER? Once I understood what OER included, I started to realize that I've been creating OER for years. So anything that supports student learning can be considered OER or open educational resources, right? So they have to be freely available learning materials, open license for reuse, revision, and sharing, designed to remove barriers to learning. And OER is not only textbooks, but any resource that teaches or supports student learning. So using AI as my thought partner, AI helped me brainstorm and outline faster, refine the tone and clarity, and generate visuals and templates and reduce burnout and decision fatigue. I personally have ADHD and really can get bogged down in the ideation process, or even just it's really hard for me to get started on things. I have an idea, but the actual like launching that could be really, really hard for me sometimes with my neurospiciness. So AI has really helped me to move from ideation to action. So I haven't been using AI as like a replacement for my creativity, but really as a collaborator. And I found that I have been consistently being able to produce better materials with AI as my thought partner. So this is my general workflow for how I produce open resources. In the brainstorming phase, the tools that I use are mainly ChatGPT, Google Docs, and sometimes Microsoft. Oh my God, what is the name of it? It's
Copilot?
Thank you, Microsoft Copilot. So I used ChatGPT mostly and Copilot plus Google Docs for the output, and I can produce outlines and content maps in the brainstorming phase, and then in the drafting phase, ChatGPT and Canva also are very very good tools to use when I'm coming up with like presentations or things like that. And the outputs are usually resource drafts and visuals. I actually really like ChatGPT for creating visuals, which is really awesome. In the refinement phase, it's the human editing and review. And this is like probably the most important step, because the output has to really sound like you. AI can really sound very like generalized, and it can lack some tone and clarity and inclusivity. And that's where the human editing and review part is a really probably the most important step in using AI as a thought partner and a collaborator. And then sharing on my campus website and pretty soon SUNY OER Commons. And the output is open licensed resources. So a case example, I used AI to help me develop the RAM 110 leadership theories and mentorship practices course. So before, this was a one credit elective built for RAM scholars to explore leadership and mentoring through reflection and theory. AI helped me move beyond my campus specific content and imagine this as a shareable framework, not just a course. The reflection prompts, assignments, and mentoring activities can live as OER modules that any advisor or instructor can adapt. So now, moving into this, RAM 110 is becoming an open course framework and a model for any campus that can integrate a leadership development and mentorship course into their first year programs. So I was creating OER without even knowing it. This was my aha moment. Even without a Creative Commons license, my advising blogs and training materials already function like OER. They teach, they're accessible, and they can be reused. Now I just need to make that official. So I've built advising blogs, peer mentorship guides, reflection forms, and outreach templates. These are all educational, they're all freely available, and the missing piece is an open license, which is something that I'm working on moving forward. So this table captures the transformation I'm aiming for, turning local tools into shareable open materials. That's the opportunity for everyone in this room. What hidden OER are you already creating? I want you to think about what are things that you already create? What are educational resources that you're using on your campus that you've already created that could be OER in the future? So resources like advising blogs, peer leader trainings, academic recovery plans, AI workflow templates. Um, how are you using these and what are the potential for them to be future OER? So I also think, and it's really important for me to always use AI with in an ethical way. So I researched and really looked up ways that I can use AI ethically. And I came up with this AI with care framework for ethical use. Contextualize, add your own expertise. AI doesn't work without the human touch and without the human expertise. So always contextualize and add your own expertise. Adapt, customize for your audience. So when I'm working with AI and I'm using the prompts, I think about my audience. I'm like, okay, I'm creating this for first year students. What are ways that I can make this more accessible to a first year student, an 18 or 19-year-old? Review, check for bias, clarity, and accessibility. Sometimes AI has the effect of a hallucination effect where it comes out with and it will spit out really like nonsense things. So that's why it's important to go back and review and check for the clarity and make sure and where your expertise comes into play is going back and reviewing and checking for those accessibility and that bias and making sure it is actually what outputting what it is that you want to say and what you want to do and ethicize, give credit and license openly. I use um, AI to help me create this presentation. I have a ton of workflows and a ton of chats open where I do my work. And I one of the prompts that I used was like, you know, can you summarize how I've been using this tool for over the last few months? And it helped me to really summarize all the ways that I've been using AI as a thought partner and at the use that I've been outputting and all the things that I've been outputting with AI as a thought partner. So why this matters for staff and counselors, you're already creating educational content. On a daily basis, you're creating educational content, whether it be advising emails to students or financial aid workflows, how to apply for FAFSA. All those type of things are things that are educational content, right? OER increases your impact and the equity of the things that you're already creating. And AI can help you get there faster with less burnout because we all wear different hats in our jobs and in our positions. So reducing the burnout is the best, and AI is the best way to help you to reduce the burnout, in my opinion. So I want to ask, what's in your hidden OER folder? So reflection pod, think of one resource you built for students or colleagues, and what would it take to make it shareable? Add a license, make it accessible, and share it widely. So I'm just going to throw the question out there and ask, what is one thing that you've created that you could make shareable? Are people able to come off of mute? Sorry.
Yes, they are.
Oh, okay. So does anybody want to share one resource that they built that they could make shareable? This is like being in class with my students sometimes. Okay. Well, think of it as a self-reflection and like think about what could be what's in your hidden OER folder and what you could make shareable and add a license to and make it more accessible that could be adapted to all of our different campuses across SUNY.
Celeste, there are a couple ideas people threw in the chat. I'm not sure if you're able
Oh,
to.
I'm sorry, I can't see the chat. Um, okay, wait, let me.
Yep, Jill said that she has some trainings that she's developed, like team building and norm building. Calvin asked, do you think chats published at websites or shared could be examples of OER content?
Chats
And
published at websites or shared are examples of our content. Chats published? I'm sorry, can you expand on that? I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, usually you can share a chat with a chat bot right on the chat site. Like you can, if you have a chat with Gemini, you can share or publish that so that it can be publicly accessible.
I think if it's publicly accessible and it's educational content, I think that can definitely be considered OER. I'm not an expert. I'm very, very new to this, but um, so I mean, I think if it meets those criteria as accessible and shared widely, then it can be considered. It just needs that open license.
Thanks.
Uh, Created a student organization focused on students OER advocates. Okay. Um, So thank you for everyone who shared. I think, we all have things in our arsenal and, things that we're using every day that can be used. So think about what you have that can be shared and shared widely and can be made accessible to other campuses because it could be very helpful. You might have, some really great things that you're already doing that could be considered OER. So my next steps is to review and add a Creative Commons licenses to some of my things that I've been working on and work with our OER librarian to publish these things and package resources for SUNY OER Commons and also continue exploring AI as a creative partner. I'm still working and developing on my RAM 110 course, which is going to launch in the spring of this year. So all of the things that I come up with for that using AI as my thought partner, I'm definitely going to look into reviewing and adding a Creative Commons license to those materials. So the key takeaway here is um, the thing I would hope that you take away is if you ever built something useful for students, handouts, guides, forms, it can be OER. AI just helps you make the process more possible. And I'd like to thank you for coming to my presentation today. If you would like to reach out and brainstorm together about OER or just chat, you can reach me at dembc@farmingdale.edu. Or if you just search Celeste Demby on LinkedIn, we can connect on LinkedIn as well. Thank you and have a great day. And also, I just open the floor for questions, I guess.
Celeste, can you put your email address and your name in the chat for us so that we can make sure people can contact you afterwards?
Sure.
Yeah.
Stop sharing. And any questions or anything that anybody else would like to share? I also have a list of prompts that I can share with people later, like prompts that I've used to help me. So if you want to reach out about, different prompts that you can use, I think using strong prompts is really, really helpful in creating the different resources and things that you want to use and even refining. So if you want to reach out about strong prompts, we can talk about that as well. Or if you're new to using AI chatbots, I'm like fully on board. I drank the AI Kool-Aid. So if anybody wants to chat about that, we can definitely chat about that. But thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Celeste. We appreciate your time presenting for us. All right.